Oh, okay. I was about to say, you're going to only have one.
Nope, just birds.
It's cool. Birds are cool.
Last thing I heard was Aiden telling the lady his real name instead of the Santiago thing. Did anybody?
No! That wasn't me. I was introduced as Aiden. But I've got to actually bring her over, and I don't know if we want to do that metagame or actually do it through the stream, but have to make sure she refers to me as Santiago.
Okay.
She needs to call you Santiago, and you need to tell her you're interviewing for a company that she's going to hate.
Well, I didn't say I was interviewing for... yes.
She's gonna know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You should try to get all of her brothers and shit in on it, too. So that, like, everybody's backing you up.
I don't think that's going to work the way you think it is.
Like, for lunch or whatever at the cafe during your interview, your plate food comes out and it says good luck written in, like, ketchup on there. Good luck, Santiago.
They would really, like, refuse to see the recruiter.
Now, do I even know the name of the recruiter?
I did.
Is it the same?
So you're not taking notes then, because it was the same lady you spoke to. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's why I wanted to make sure. We switched over to recruiter, and I'm like, well, is it the same person I spoke to already, or is it okay?
I gave you shit for that. I didn't write her name down.
I don't know if you ever said it.
Well, I went in the random name generator to get it. So it was there. It is.
All right, I'm used to it.
It's I used those two. I don't know in which order. It's Lila Sienna.
That's all right, man. I'm used to the crap. It's all good.
I mean, I did very specifically tell you that the town hated this place to the point where there was armed conflict. So, I'm just saying.
And yet we're meeting in a cafe in the town. And
yeah. Well,
and the company knows that there's armed conflict, and that doesn't make any sense. But okay.
So, item number 1. You keep doing this thing where I try to give you a bone and I try to make it easy for the party, and you say, oh, it doesn't make sense that things happen. This is the second episode in a row you've done that. Thirdly, when I say armed conflict, some of the hunters have disappeared. So when I say armed conflict, it's not like there's military forces going back and forth. What it is that hunters who you are representing a group of, you pretending to be, have gone onto the territory of this place and not returned. And they are the family members of these people who you're saying, I'm going to go meet my old friend here that I've known for years and grown up with. I'm not saying that anyone's going to get shot, but you are going to see the mood of that waitress change instantaneously and dramatically the second she sees the person you're meeting with. And that has been explained a couple times up to this point.
She can still help with this plan. You just have to explain it to her in a different way. Maybe pay her a little bit more.
Yeah,
like
I said, it's not that it's a bad plan. It's that you're not reading the room, and you should adjust your approach a little bit so that you can be successful.
So we can anticipate that she's gonna be like not really supportive of like meeting an old friend, but like I don't know if we want to just come out and be like, so fuck Leopard Communications, but she might be on that side too. I don't know. We could also do a little bit more of the socialization and try to figure some stuff out. Do we want to do that when we back on stream, or do we want to do that talking now?
You can keep going. It's dropping and coming back and dropping and coming back, and I've just switched to recording. So right now, my status says that it's live.
Okay.
So I was just
So I think what
I was just
what
trying
I'm-
to give you some metagame hints in the right direction because like I'm definitely going to, I know that Thodubs isn't super experienced with the RP side of it, and I didn't want him to feel all butthurt when he goes to implement his genius plan, and she's like, "No, you didn't say this lady was the one you were meeting with. I have family that never came home because of this bitch. Like, you are not going to get by with a smile, a grin, and a couple of extra dollars to pull this off with this level of tension." And you and Luca's characters, or Kizik's character, Luca specifically, would have read enough of the forums to know that, like, this is a mining town that's on the brink of pitchforks and torches kind of thing because of this. So it's a powder keg. Which is also why the interviewer asked you specifically, is this going to be an issue? You're a local. So all of these things have led up to this.
Well, to be honest with you, I thought that the whole concept of being a local would be me working for the company, not necessarily interviewing in a cafe. Was my perception, but
You said
'Cause
you made part of your backstory that you were from Leaside.
yes.
Yes. That Leaside's the town that they've had issues with.
But she didn't know that at the time when you made that your backstory.
No, I explained it before that.
Oh, okay.
The very first thing I said, the very first roll Kizik made, I said, "Hey, this is what it is. There is tension with the town." That was the very first sentence.
Right on. Doesn't change our plan. The plan's still good.
I mean, he's ultimately trying to fail the interview and not get hired.
That's
I mean,
true. We're
that-
just trying to ask questions.
That's a valid point.
What do you think about us giving her a heads up as far as who this person is, who this person actually works for? I mean, obviously they're going to know when she walks in the door,
Mhm.
but what about us giving her some heads up and letting her know what's going on?
Yeah, it's probably a good
little
idea.
bit. So
Yeah.
giving her a little bit of a heads up where we're not giving her all the details, but we're giving her enough details to say, okay, look, at least, hey, my name's Santiago. Yeah, I'm interviewing with these people. I know you guys probably don't like them, but
Well, we
I
can
don't know.
have her sit down with us or something and like ask her these questions. Like, hey, do you know? You obviously know the Leopard Communications Company, and like see what she says about it, and have that conversation with her.
That's a good approach. There's a couple of valid things that you've put in here. She's gonna be going back and forth between tables. She's the only waitress working, so you're not gonna be able to grab her for an extended period of time. You're gonna have to work that in too. But yeah,
We also have other people here in the cafe with us that we could potentially gain, like in a small town, family-oriented town. Like we don't need to talk to necessarily her to find out what her opinion of the corporation is.
that is also a valid point. And you still have several hours before the interview. Also,
I'm gonna start busting tables.
you're gonna start bussing tables.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to shoulder your way into a job here.
No, if I can help her, like clear up 5 minutes worth of work, that's worth 5 minutes of talking.
Sure. So you're definitely gonna get some looks doing that. But
I'm a big old smile, introduce like, hey, how y'all doing? And I like, obviously I'm an outsider. I wonder
Mhm.
what any of them will say. Just trying to help out.
several of them seem pretty amused by it. You've definitely got the waitress's attention. The waitress now needs a name. Let's see.
She's Stacy, and it breaks my heart when she tells me.
She's gonna be Portia.
Oh, okay. Classy.
I mean, here it's just an old name.
Ah.
Okay, so Portia is she's impressed, and she swings by and she's like, "Hey, thanks for the help." And she gives you her phone number, thinking that's what you were after.
Portia, we got to come clean with you. My buddy here. You want to explain this? Portia, you got like 5 minutes?
I do now.
Sure thing. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Portia. Again, really great to meet you, and I know we were having some fun here, but I want to be able to come clean with you just a little bit. Now, the person that I'm meeting, it's actually from the Leopard Communications company. Now,
you do see her face immediately turn sour.
No, and I by the look on your face, I can tell that this is not going to be a fun meeting. However, this person is coming down here, and you're going to see me. I'm trying to interview for a job. Now, I'll be in a suit. I'm looking forward to trying to get some work. And I understand that this company and this business you guys have not saw eye to eye, and I can tell by the look on your face. I think you've had some history with this company. Could you tell me anything that you know about the company to help give me an understanding of where you're coming from?
Well, everything with the company was originally fine. They employed quite a few people here, and they bring business into the town when they do interviews. They still do interviews here in the cafe sometimes, which is probably why you're having the meeting here. Because they won't let anyone in their facility. Like, if you wanted to interview with them, they won't let anyone in. But about a year ago, hunters that usually work the mountain started going missing. And the company line from the representatives of the company was that they were under no obligation to explain whether or not they had implemented their security measure of shoot on sight. Basically, they said, we probably shot them, but we're not going to tell you about it. At least that's how we interpret it. And there was some local back and forth, and our local sheriff basically said he didn't have the authority to tell them to stand down. They legally own that mountain. And the government has given them carte blanche to do whatever they want. So some of the hunters decided to take it into their own hands, and none of them have come back. And some of them are relatives, and there's been a lot of bad blood between us ever since then. Technically, when the HR reps come into town, we still allow them to utilize our businesses and services, and when they are rotating people in and out, we do still, it's not the employee's fault. We imagine it's the security forces and that they're a different group. Although I got to tell you, some of the HR executives are also some of the executives that said that we had no right to know whether or not they had shot people up on the mountain. It has not gone over well here. I'm not going to lie. As soon as you're seen with them, you're probably not going to be treated quite as nicely as you have been so far. And she has a rather stern look on her face.
No, totally understand. That's terrible. How long has this been going on? So it sounds like years then this has been happening to you, huh?
It's been about a year.
Oh, about a year. Okay. Gosh, that's awful. Yeah, I'm kind of in a bind, and I'm looking for some work. And to be honest with you, I'm looking at. I know this company. They've kind of bad taste in everyone's mouth around here, but I'm in a place where I really need a job, and I'm looking at being able to get a job with these guys, and of course I don't care about anything that they obviously stand for. I didn't know all of the things that they were doing to this terrible town and to the people at the time, but again, I'm just hoping that you'll still be interested in at least walking up and being, cordial with me, and knowing my name. And again, I was introduced as Aiden. It's kind of a nickname that I have, but my real name is Santiago. And I was wondering if you'd be able to just, again, come talk to me, introduce, say hi to me and stuff, as like we've been friends for years, even though this, obviously this HR person is going to be here. But obviously you can scowl and scorn them as much, as long as you just be able to, give me some courtesy at this time. That would be hugely appreciated. And again, I understand that this is terrible, and I'll still throw some credit your way to help you out, even though this is something obviously you're not going to want to do. If it's something you can help me out with, that would be wonderful.
Do you give her credits?
I do.
How many?
50.
In what currency?
Oh gosh. I'll give her gold.
Okay.
Good
Go ahead.
call.
Go ahead and make a persuade roll again.
I got a 9. I'm washed on social and persuade, so
Just by the skin of your teeth. Luckily you gave gold. So she looks hesitant and she's like, I don't know what you're up to here. But I have a suspicion it's not going to be good for the company. So I'll still play your game. But you don't want to work for that company. And that's all she said. She very quietly gets up from the table and walks off back to do her job again.
all right.
Sweet. Breakfast was good.
Breakfast was delicious.
Some pretty good elk.
I'm gonna leave a nice big tip.
I would like a recon roll from everyone at the table who wasn't Aiden.
Yeah, I would like to encourage everybody to leave a nice tip, regardless.
Oh no.
Snake Eyes.
No, not Snake Eyes. I rolled a 3, I got a 1 in recon, and then it's intellect, right?
Yes.
11.
Okay.
7.
Well, the captain sees it.
I get a 10.
All right. So Luca and Holmes. One of the gentlemen that was part of this group of hunters over here, he was definitely listening into that conversation. And he was not very good at concealing it. He's not good at this kind of thing. But he immediately gets up, pulls something out of his pocket, and goes out the front door. He's just abandoned the rest of the people at the table and his half-finished breakfast. It's very suspicious.
I look over at the captain, and if he nods, I'm going to get up and follow him.
I'm gonna nod and I'm gonna go. Hey, everybody, we're gonna tail this guy that is obviously listening to us, and I'm not letting him go alone. So, yeah, I'm following him out.
I'll stay with Aiden.
So you guys start down the street. He's got a brisk walk. The thing he pulled out of his pocket is a phone. He is dialing a number, and he turns around just as you guys are walking out the front door, and he does see you, and he abandons all pretense at holding his cool and just bursts into a run with the phone in his hand. Just gonna grab him, dude.
You better run, guys. Catch him.
I'm going to chase after him saying, hey, we're looking for a local guide.
He is not in the local guide. He's burst run, panic run. He's not buying what you're selling. Also, I need you to roll an athletics roll. Athletic,
Good roll.
yeah, either a strength or an endurance. So it's either burst speed or it's you're gonna wear him down.
Man, glad I got a good roll. Four's a success, right?
5 is a success.
Nah, I suck at this.
I got a 9.
Luca, you run him down. Now, if it was strength, then you catch up to him immediately. If it's endurance, he gets basically the end of the street before he starts running out of steam, and you're just keeping pace with him, and then eventually he has to stop, and you catch up to him.
It was endurance.
Okay. So that means that you had to run quite a distance, and Holmes behind you is like huffing and puffing, but you catch up to this guy now. As you get near him, he's still like panicking and trying to get away from you. But he hasn't said anything yet.
I was a little bit serious about looking for a local guide to take us up into those mountains up there. We got some investigating to do. I need you to calm down a little bit, because I'm going to be right here behind you until you get calm. I say not out of breath as he's slowing down.
Give me a dexterity roll.
An 8.
Okay. Would you like to dodge?
Yes, I would.
Okay, that's still a hit. He flings a Bowie knife at you, and you dodge most of it, but it catches you in the shoulder. And you take 5 damage. And he bursts into another sprint, but this time through the snow. And he's obviously more accustomed to the snow than you are. He also starts panicking and like dialing on the phone again.
I'm going to grab my shoulder for a second and assume at this point Holmes catches up. And I'm going to point that way. I'm going to say, but I got his knife. He's trying to make a call. We can get him, right?
We got this.
So at this point, he's connected to whoever he's talking to. And he's trying to, like, he's at a switchboard or something, and he's trying to get connected to another person. And you're close enough to hear Lila Sienna's name be mentioned.
Oh no.
We're in the woods, right? And my silence pistol comes out.
You are 10 feet away from the street, but you are in the woods.
So many choices.
I'm not there. I gotta keep my mouth shut.
We're hoofing it through like waist deep snow.
Hmm?
I'm going to try to shoot the phone out of his hand.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, it's a 10 to pass, so it's a hard one. But that would be the thing to do if you can do it. You want to take your minor action to aim?
Yes, please.
That does mean you have to stop in your tracks.
Boom. I wasn't going too fast anyway because it's real deep in the snow. So I pull my pistol out, kind of like looking straight in Holmes's eyes, and he kind of like shrugs his shoulders. You got a 7 plus 2 is an 8, 9 plus 1 for aiming is a 10.
Oh, just that's glorious. That is amazing. So yeah, you pull the trigger, and that phone just bursts. It just completely obliterates out of his hand, and he's just staring at it dumbfounded. And he's like turning it over to see if like any of his fingers are hit, and like he's fine. And the phone's just the top half of it is gone. And then he puts his hand up. He's like, "Don't shoot me."
What a shot. Intimidation bar automatically filled.
Yep.
He turns around and I'm just putting the pistol away and I say, I think you dropped your knife back there.
Yeah. Look, man, I get paid to keep an eye out for suspicious people. And you qualified, and it's just a job, man. I wasn't trying to kill you.
I mean, this is the same company that you're reporting to that kills locals, like your friends and brothers.
They said they hadn't done that.
And you believe them?
He gets a sheepish look on his face. He's like, they pay a lot. I could get out of this town.
So, I can't have you making that call. But I also don't care if you, walk away in the woods and the company that you have been paid by finds you and maybe doesn't kill anybody.
You want me to try to walk up the mountain?
I mean, you work for them, so they're not going to kill you on sight, right? And plus, they don't kill people on sight.
I mean, the weather where the animals might kill me before I even get there.
You got a house in this town that we can go have a conversation at?
I mean, I stay with my mom. But yeah. I'd really prefer she not be in this.
So you live in the basement of your mom's house?
Attic.
Is she at breakfast there with everybody else in town?
She's at a friend's house for a crochet thing, but she'll be back soon.
You got another private residence we can have a private conversation with?
What do you mean by private residence? You mean a place or a person?
I need a safe place that you and I and my buddy here, maybe our other buddy, can figure out what's going to happen.
Go ahead and roll either persuade, or is there a coercion style check for this thing? I should know this. We've tried it so many times.
There's a... Oh, it's not Carouse. That's not it.
Yeah, persuade.
It could be.
I'd take persuade. I'd take diplomat. It's really, it's an intimidation thing. What I'm trying to decide is whether or not this guy decides to make a run for the police office and come clean, but say you attacked him with a gun, or try to cooperate with you. Because he's terrified out of his mind, and facing the sheriff's wrath for working with the company right now probably seems like something he could live through, but if he goes into a dark room alone with you, he doesn't think he's going to make it out.
Very smart.
He's very smart. I just wanted to give him his knife back. So I'm persuading him. And I rolled a 10. I've got a 1 in persuade.
Oh, okay. Well,
so that's an 11.
That's an 11. He rolled an 11, but players win when you tie. So he's on the brink, but he's like, we got an hour before my mom gets back. We can use my house.
I text Taylor and Aiden. Where are we going? Where's your house?
He just points down the street and starts walking.
It's down the street.
I'll leave the cafe, follow after my brother's pings.
I mean, it's one street, so when you walk out the cafe, you can look down the street and see him.
Right. That's true. It's a one traffic circle town.
Mm-hmm. So, Aiden, are you going with, or are you staying in the cafe?
We still mourning?
Yeah, no, it's 10 minutes after the last conversation you just had with the waitress.
Yep, copy. So I'm going to go down with them.
Are you guys going to, pay your tab?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna toss down a nice amount of money here and
Okay.
take off.
I left him to pay it.
Yeah.
I'm not captain now. Somebody else's responsibility.
I mean, Holmes didn't have to pay it either. He delegated. He's like, pay that.
Right.
He's like doing that, and Taylor's like, wait, I didn't know that was an option.
That's an option?
So you guys get to this this little split foyer house, very old, very gingerbread house looking thing. And the guy lets you into the parlor. And he's like, all right, so what do you want to know? And how do I get out of this?
Have you ever been inside the mountain?
No, I'm a local hunter. I have been past the perimeter more than a few times, and I didn't get shot. The company rep that I met with thinks that it's wild game that have killed the hunters, but the company policy is not to comment, is what he told me. And he just wanted to have someone who kept an eye out for any outsiders coming into town. And anyone who was suspicious or anyone who was talking about, breaching the perimeter. And when I heard you guys talking back and forth about different names and stuff like that and trying to get that waitress to lie for you, that kind of qualified. He says very quietly.
I mean, my buddy's just trying to get him a job. He came up with this awesome backstory where he was a local here, so we thought that the company would reach out, but he didn't realize that the company and the local town are having a huge foo-fa-fa. So he just needs locals to treat him like a local so that he can get a job.
That didn't sound like what you guys were talking about. But if that's what you say it is, then that's totally what it is. He says, real quickly as a follow-up.
I flinched as I reached for my jacket. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it says. That's all that's happening now. And the rest of us are just here because we want to go hunting in the mountains. That elk barbecue was delicious.
So now all four of you are in this parlor with this. As you get a closer look at him, he's weathered, but he's actually probably relatively young. He's probably in his late 20s or early 30s, although he looks older than that because of, being out in the elements quite a bit. And he's very compliant. He's just like, okay. Can you guys go now?
Oh,
no, tell us. Sorry, what kind of animals are out there? They say that something can kill us while we're out there. What's out there?
So he points to a wall in the parlor. There are several heads hanging on the wall. He points to one that it's the size of a dog, but it's blatantly some kind of lizard with sharp teeth. He points to that and he's like, so those come out mostly when it's warmer. They can definitely kill you. And then there's the snow piranhas. You don't want to fuck with snow piranhas. They're small, but they swarm you and they hunt in packs of 20 or 30. I mean, there's just a number of normal predators out there, bobcats and timberwolves and things like that, and they're less likely to kill you, but they absolutely can and will if they're hungry enough, and it is wintertime.
So how about you help us out now that you be needing an employer? You be our guide. You said sorry, I wasn't here for this, but you said you've been beyond the fence line or whatever it was. So why don't you take us that way, maybe tomorrow-ish.
You want to go up the mountain? I mean, I can... Yeah, I can help you. You said employer. Does this mean I'm going to get paid?
that would mean, yeah, you would get paid for this.
All right. How far up the mountain do you want to go?
That's a good question. What's safe?
I've never been past about the halfway point. But the only way they could find you, I think, is if you got too close to one of their installations or if one of the foot patrols happened to come across you. I'm pretty quiet, and while I've had a couple of close calls while I was up there, the foot patrols have never actually found me, obviously. But the hunting up there is really good because, no one hunts up there.
Makes sense. Okay, so yeah, we're good with going halfway with you.
Okay, I can take you halfway up there. He doesn't negotiate price or anything. He seems to be thrilled that you talked about paying him.
You guys good with this, right?
Do you think they use like IR goggles? Or you said you're just quiet, so maybe you're just very lucky, or maybe you're getting paid and letting us know just enough to get ourselves killed.
No. I wouldn't do that. I've never even participated in anyone being killed. It's not something I would do.
Point to my shoulder.
I wasn't
with his knife.
He immediately is like, I wasn't trying to kill you. I'm sorry. And then he's like, they do have things like IR goggles, but I mean, have you ever tried to wear those all day long while you're in the snow? So they don't wear them all the time. If they have no reason to think we're there, they won't use them.
Okay. And we have some IR goggles.
Okay. I don't usually use them. Although they will really help with the snow piranhas.
Tell us more about those snow piranhas.
Oh, you haven't heard of the snow piranhas? Everybody's heard of the snow piranhas. They're not properly piranhas or even fish, really. They're some sort of insect. But they're like a macro insect. They're huge. He holds up like two fists that are about a foot apart. He's like, they're about this big, and they swim through the snow, and they generate heat, and they melt snow as they come through, and they're drawn to heat sources, and they're carnivores.
Huh. None of that showed up in your research earlier, huh?
I was researching a company. I mean,
It's a true story. It's a true story. None of you asked about hunting.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's on us.
Bad captain. Bad captain.
I'm not telling you. I'm not saying that I would have told you about those until this point anyway, but
Fair enough.
but we've got a local guide, and he knows how to deal with it, so we're all right.
Yeah, that's right. Now you're stuck with us. I mean, one of us.
one of us, part of the crew, part of the ship.
Exactly. All for one and one for all.
His name is Homer, by the way.
Homer. I like it. It's a good family name.
So where are you guys from? You from the city?
Yep. You been in Layside your whole life?
More or less. Love to get out of here. I applied to university, but they said I didn't have a good enough IQ.
How many times have you met Layla Sienna?
Only once face to face. We talk on the phone once a week when I give my status report. She's one of the site reps that I report to.
How often does she come out?
Maybe once or twice a month to meet an interviewee or a vendor. Every 3 months, the site reps rotate out with the rest of the crew, and often they will come stay in the bed and breakfasts in town while waiting for shuttles to make trips. It takes a good 3 or 4 days for the shuttles to rotate everyone in and out. They have to drive down the mountain in snowcats, so it's a long process. Sorry, was the question you're about to ask, how does she get here?
Yep.
Yeah, snowcats.
Does that mean she works in the mountain the whole time?
Well, when she's not on rotation, but yes, they rotate through here, but they don't stay here. They all go up into the mountain and stay. Then when the rotation's over, they rotate out. That's the only time we see them.
Has she asked you about Santiago, her latest new hire?
No, she doesn't talk to me about stuff like that. Her and the other site reps are mostly just getting reports on the unrest in the town, and they're looking for anyone showing a undue interest in the company who's an outsider.
Are there any locals with would you call that undue interest in the company?
Yeah, there's a pretty decent group of hunters who would love to storm the mountain, but we're pretty sure there's automatic weapons and God knows what else up there. With that said, there's also, and he pauses for a second and gets a look on his face, probably more than one person like me who's been asked to keep an eye out for people like you.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. You know anybody else that was on the payroll?
I don't know for certain, but sometimes they seem to know things that I hadn't told them.
That's
The waitress.
The waitress? Are you talking about? Are you talking about Portia? No, her brother's one of the guys who went missing. That's why she's the only waitress working there now. Used to be 2 of them. And her brother went on a hunting trip up there, and he's never came back. I'm really amazed that the site reps still have the balls to go into that cafe.
wow.
But they don't kill people, though.
They said they don't, and honestly, wildlife has always been an issue out here. But it's hard to convince someone who just lost a family member that they shouldn't just blame a person they think is responsible.
We're going to have a fun camping trip.
Yeah, how long do you think it's going to take to get out there? What do you think we should do?
If we go on foot the whole way up, which is what I usually do, it'll be 3 days. A day to the mountain, a day up the mountain and back, and then a 3rd day to come back. So, but if you stay on the mountain for any given amount of time, obviously that'll add on to it. It's 3 days of travel. That's to go halfway up. The slope increases significantly on the second half. I've never been all the way up to the top. One of the reasons is because you would need climbing gear.
Meta question: who has the wafer from Jones?
Me.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, we've now hired this kid, so we can start getting that part of the expedition going while Aiden has his interview.
After this conversation, we could just fast forward to the interview if you wanted. Or you guys could just leave him behind. It's up to you.
No, we're not going to leave him.
I thought you had a whole operation in mind for the interview.
Oh, yeah, you want to put a camera in there? I just need to be in the same room.
Yeah, I think it's that simple. I don't know about... I think I suggested a camera, but that's because I wanted to be safe. I think it's fine for you just to sit up in that room with your phone.
I'd like to see if I can bug the snowcat when it gets down while they're in there having the interview.
Oh, that's a good idea. Did you bring a bug?
I think I did. I'll double check. I probably didn't.
There were bugs in your GIA kits. It's just a question of where you kept them. Like, because if they're on the ship, you don't have it. But if you kept one or two of them on your person at all times, then you would have at least one. Remember, active bugs transmit data back for you on a command, and passive bugs have to be physically retrieved, but are much smaller and harder to detect.
If you can't find your bugs, Luca will ask you if you want the big one or the little one.
I didn't write where I put mine down in either on the ship or in my stuff.
You may spend
can
a
I
player
use
point to just have one.
Sweet. I am going to do that to have one of the active ones.
Okay. Good decision. Okay, so the snowcat pulls up, and a very attractive woman steps out. She reminds Taylor of someone. And she makes her way into the cafe, and oh wow, Luca went straight to the place she was going to go to. That's not awkward. But she,
sorry. Is this your spot? I'll go somewhere else.
She finds her way to the lounge area of the cafe and waits patiently. She seems to be looking around the room. She doesn't know, like, she's obviously looking for someone, but she doesn't know who she's looking for yet.
We didn't exactly say where we were meeting in the cafe, did we?
Yeah, well, she doesn't know what Aiden looks like.
Oh, copy.
So, okay, so Aiden's gonna stroll up.
I'm gonna stroll up.
We're gonna do this in turns. So Aiden's gonna make his introduction, and then we're gonna go through the other players.
Hi, my name is Santiago. Are you by chance Leela?
She's like, "Oh yes, Santiago. I've been looking forward to meeting you. I thank you so much for meeting me out here, and I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. I know that there is some awkward tension with the town right now, and it just means a lot to have a local applying for the company." And she encourages you to have a seat. About that moment on cue, as discussed, Portia comes over there, and you guys have a little bit of banter. I've already rolled her. She's a very good actress, apparently. And it immediately sets Lila at ease. Like, it plays off perfectly. And then Portia wanders off, and your ruse has worked very, very well. And Lila's like, "Oh, that's just wonderful. I really hope that you'll be able to help us, not just as part of the company, but in mending some fences with the town. It would be fantastic."
Sure, yeah, definitely. I hope so. I know tension has not been exactly that. Our tension's been pretty bad between the company and the town, so I definitely can understand that.
Yeah. So we're gonna flip over to Ronan first. So the snowcat is parked up at the top of the street. There is a robotic driver. You've seen these things before. They're not very intelligent. As long as you don't walk right in front of the camera, it's probably not going to detect you, but it is important to note that it is there.
Sweet. I'm gonna get around behind it without going in front of the robot and see if I recon around it to see if there's a good solid place to put it.
Okay. So planting bugs.
And if anybody else is like just the general area, see if it's anything else going on.
Planting bugs, if you are trying to make it so that it's not seen, which I'm assuming you are, but also needs to be in a place inside the vehicle where it can hear valuable things. That's a sleight of hand. Sleight of hand is actually deception in this system. It's sleight of hand. It's deception plus dexterity instead of being plus social.
Sweet. I'm good at those things. Here we go. 8.
All right. So you're able to crack the door open, and how do you want to put this thing in here? There's a couple different ways you could do it.
Crack the door open. The robot thingy's still not responding at all.
Nope, has no idea you're there.
Okay. How do the...
There's like there's a bench seat in the back and a passenger seat in the front. You watched her get out of the back seat, so you know she's been sitting in the back.
Does the bench seat have the ability to get raised up, or is it permanently down?
Yeah, it can be raised.
Does the back of the seat? Can I get behind the back of the seat?
Yeah. There's a cargo area back behind it too.
So the seat back isn't against like the back of the cab area. It's open to the back cargo area.
There's a partition, but it is like it's a half wall. So there's like one of those little things like you would get between, like if you fold your back seats down, sometimes there's a little bit of a panel there at the bottom to keep stuff from sliding forward and back. And it's like one of those. It's completely removable, but it is kind of there.
And does the seat back have... can I get inside of it?
If you cut into it with your knife.
Okay, so no zippers or anything like that?
No, it's not designed to open.
Okay. Can I get it right there at the bottom part of the seat where the seat and the back would rotate up to meet each other?
Sure.
Does that make... Yep, that's where I'm gonna put it.
Okay. It's all planted.
The goal is... Yep.
The goal is to, I'm assuming, be able to hear anything that's said in the back seat.
Yep, and make sure that it, not get found easily.
Okay. You are able to do that and slip away.
Sweet.
So Aiden, she's started. She hasn't even bothered to ask anymore about your qualifications. She's just started so, you know, you would start on the next rotation, which starts in about a month, and she just starts going into the minutia of how you would be onboarded. It's less of a interview and more of a orientation. But it does open up opportunities for you to ask many of those questions you had originally asked.
Gotcha. Fair enough. And yeah, I again, not a lot is known about the mountain other than, you know, we're not supposed to go up there and stuff. The check-in process, what do I need to do in order to be able, do I need some kind of ID or something like that to be able to go in through the guards, or I mean, who am I supposed to meet when I get in there? That type of thing. I just have a lot of questions as far as making sure I'm in the right spot at the right time to meet up with the people I need to meet up with in there.
Of course, that's completely normal. So we will issue you an ID, and we need you to use that ID and not the state-issued ID they sent you. Within the facility, you won't be allowed to bring any of your personal electronic devices. There'll be safes up at the first floor in security. You'll drop them off there. Don't worry, you'll have access to them if you need to go call your family or whatever. You just can't bring them into the data center. And then we have the first couple days is usually just orientation and switch over, and then after orientation and switch over, then we will dive right into the first downloads. So we have regular downloads from the satellite where we actually have to bring all of our systems into a dedicated download mode, and the satellite goes into a dedicated upload mode, and we get all of the new information, all of the updates put into the backup core for that 3 months. It's a pretty significant process, and it is going to be right at the beginning of the shift.
Does it take that whole time period to actually do the upload download?
No, of course not. It takes several days to get the whole thing sorted and filed away. The transmission itself will only last about 12 hours. But then the data's got to be decompressed and then sorted and filed. And that's when the analysis, so in the stellar cartography group, you guys would start getting new data that's been gathered by the scouts we've contracted with. And that's when you would start working on figuring out what systems are what. You know, they're going to bring back raw data, but you're going to say whether or not that planet has water, or is viable, or this, that, or the other, or whether it's a barren rock and should just be skipped.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then
wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. And then obviously we upload the analyzed data during this process as well. So, it's the second version of this process. At the end of your shift, we'll do it again, and we'll upload all your analysis to the satellite so that people who want to buy the information can.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Now, you had mentioned about starting in about a 1 month. What is there a standard rotation? I mean, is it everybody that gets swapped out every 3 months, or is it just? I mean, am I going to be following the crowd kind of thing, or is it going to be one of those things like we're all on different types of rotations?
So there's about 50 employees on a shift, and that's the number you'll be rotating with. Those employees all rotate in and out. You'll be working with the same shift. Like, we try to keep them all together unless there's any significant personality conflicts. We do occasionally have to switch people shifts for reasons. Probably a good time to point out that while inter-office fraternization is permitted, being stuck, in a facility like this, that amount of time, just understand that it can lead to dismissal if it creates a productivity issue. And she goes into a very HR-esque speech about don't screw your coworkers.
Don't lay your meat where you make your bread.
Yep. Harold. Anyway, so she goes into all that, and she divulges a little bit of information to you. Basically, you've learned that there is a full-time security staff. The security staff rotates in and out on a much longer schedule. The short shifts for them are 6 months. The long ones are 3 years. So the security staff, they're there all the time, basically. And there is a constant security presence on each floor, although it varies depending where you're at, as to how much of a presence. So you get that information. You also figured out about key cards. Yeah, so she's like, there's you asked about, whether or not you'd be going with the group. There is quite a few people. I'm sure you're local, so you've seen them come through. There'll be Snowcat convoys coming up and down, and we provide free shuttle transport back to the capital. So you wouldn't have to stay here in the town if you wanted to go see the capital. We have ferries that run back and forth.
Okay. Now, a question. You mentioned these are 3 month shifts. Now, I assume during the 3 months I'm just not allowed to leave, or is there any? Have people been able to leave earlier than 3 months, or anything like that, or is it a lockdown type of thing?
You are not permitted to leave the facility except under emergency circumstances. The only times we've had people leave this facility have been for medical emergencies. The only exception to that was in one of the first years that it was up and running. The geothermal plant had a runaway issue, and we thought the facility might explode, so we evacuated. That's the only exception that's been to the rule.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. So you guys are using geothermal then, huh? Wow. Okay.
That's part of the advantage of being on the mountain. Geothermal energy is free and clean and readily available where we're at.
Wow, definitely sounds nice. Absolutely. Now, I'm assuming that I've actually, I didn't mention it to you earlier, but I kind of have an allergy. Am I able to bring medicine and stuff like that in for me at all for my allergies?
Absolutely. And we have an on-site doctor. An on-site medic. Doctor might be overselling it, but there's nothing we've come across so far that he hasn't been able to handle. And we have a well-stocked pharmacy as well. If you run out of your medicine, as long as it's a standard medication, we'll probably have it.
Okay, great. Now, during this time period, I assume people are, you're staying there for 3 months. Do you have a place for shopping, for groceries, food, anything with clothing, or am I expected to just pack up for a full 3 months?
So if you want anything that isn't part of standard fare, you're going to want to bring it yourself. Clothing, shopping, entertainment, food, etc. There isn't much of a canteen in the facility. It is one of our shortcomings, unfortunately. Every 3 months when we do the rotation cycles, we bring in a bunch of foodstuffs. But by the time the 3 months is over, most of the fresh stuff will be used up and we'll be down to dry rations. I know that's inconvenient. It is a issue that I've been bringing up with management for years, and they don't want to break security protocols to bring in anything else.
Gotcha. No, I can understand. You guys want to just protect things and keep things safe. I mean, you guys got some do important work, right?
Well, it's incredibly valuable data, and it's incredibly contested. And I know the lockdown procedures seem inconvenient, but the lockdown procedures are because people will kill for this data, and the security steps are not there to keep you in. You've asked about that a couple times, as much as they are to protect you. If you were allowed to leave the facility, a number of things could happen to you, or you could be, you could be coerced into bringing something in or betraying us. Doing the longer rotations limits that possibility.
Gotcha. Oh, good information. Another thing, one thing I love to do is I love actually, to surf the internet and watch movies and things like that. I assume that there's some internet connectivity there or something like that I'm able to actually connect to a network or some type of Wi-Fi or something like that where I'm able to do things on my own during the 3 months.
There is the equivalent of a ship's library that will every 3 months it uplinks and downloads everything. And you are allowed to go back to the foyer area in the entryway and use your cell phone to contact your family. So we do have a network connection in that method, but there is no outside connection other than the official antenna in and out of the facility for security reasons. It is a separated network most of the time, except for when the upload antenna is activated. It is completely cut off from the outside world, as are the entirety of the facility, with the exception of the entryway chamber, which has a cell signal so that you guys can talk to your families.
Gotcha. Okay, so entranceway's got okay. Sounds good. All right. And I think I've got a lot of my questions answered.
Okay, so we're gonna switch over to Luca.
Okay.
Luca, they've been chatting back and forth for almost an hour now. Have you already made your intrusion rolls, or do you need to make them?
I was waiting for you to hit the roll button, or say hit roll.
Yep, go ahead and hit the roll button.
That's a 10 plus a 1 plus a 2 is a 13.
Oh, yeah. So you are... I mean, this cell phone is also... So you have a TL10 phone, right?
Yes.
So this is 2 TLs lower than yours. So which actually makes the check easier. With that said, you have complete root access to this phone, but all of the files of significance, the first thing you notice is they are all stupidly encrypted. So as soon as you start going in there, you're like, yes, I can see all these directories, but every file is encrypted. You can still download them.
Yep. I put those all onto I run them through a couple of different things so that it doesn't look like it's coming directly from my IP address, but I take all of her files on her computer or on her cell phone.
Okay. So this includes things like call logs, which is an unusual step, and you would notice that. But it wouldn't strike you as too odd because this is obviously a company that takes data protection really seriously. So even though they're using a lower TL phone, their concept is, well, the files are impossible to crack. And as you look at the encryption, you're like, impossible is a strong word, but it's going to be a bitch.
I stretch my back a little bit as I go, it's going to be a long night. I'm going to have to do this while I'm in the mountains too. Fuck.
All right. Aiden, do you have any closing remarks for your interview? Lila has handed you a packet of information, a company ID, and a tablet.
Great, perfect, wonderful. Now, this is the company ID you're saying that I need to bring with me when I go to the main gate.
Yes, that is your access to the main gate.
Gotcha. All right, perfect. I think I'm all good. What kind of stuff do you guys wear? Is it business attire? Is it casual?
It's super casual. Most of the people work in their PJs. We're under a mountain. We don't stick to a lot of formalities down there. With that said, I would keep at least one set of smart, like business attire, because every once in a while we will have to give VIP presentations, tours, or stuff, usually over telecon. I can't tell you the number of times people have given those telecons where they're wearing a suit top and pajama bottoms. But it's just having one smart suit is probably worth having.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that would definitely be awkward if you're doing a telecon and you got you're in your PJs. So yeah, definitely, no, good point. Great. I think I have everything that I need. Oh, do I have by chance? Could I by chance get a phone number from you? I got directed for the interview and stuff like that. I don't think I actually had a number. I was actually called by it. If I had any additional questions, maybe I can get in touch with you.
Oh, it was the number that I called you from originally, but my business card is a part of your packet, and you'll find that tablet allows you to log onto the company directory, and then you can look up the phone numbers of anyone in the company that you would reason to call. So you should be set.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I am excited to be able to start my new job and get a chance to see if I can earn some money and learn some things.
Okay. So she's texted a few times during the interview, and I just wanted to point that out. It's not anything that would have necessarily alerted you, but you definitely would have seen it. As she gives you her formalities and walks out to the car, Holmes, who is listening in on the active bug, as soon as she shuts the door, is going to be like, driver, back to the office, and then she's going to make a phone call, and she's talking to someone. You didn't quite catch the name, but they sound like they're from security, and she's like, I've tried to call my contact back like 3 times. I've tried to send them text messages. I'm in town, and he isn't here. I haven't seen him. I don't know that it means that something's going to happen, but, a cutoff phone call is very alarming. I was just in the cafe and nothing seemed amiss. Also, the new employee will probably work out, so we can go ahead and pull that posting down. I think we should start sending patrols into the town. And there's going to be a little bit back and forth. And she's like, I'll meet you when I get back to the office. Sounded like the security chief did not like the idea of doing that.
I'm sending patrols
Into the town.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys successfully got your way through that scenario. It's 11:51, so we have a few minutes to talk about the next steps, but we probably won't actually take them. Unless you guys have something really quick you want to do. Like,
Fly a drone.
Yeah. You can do a drone if you want. Now, the question about the drones have 2 modes. Automated mode, it can go 6 hours, so it can go quite a distance. Manual flight mode, which is how you guys have been flying around, it's limited to 5 kilometers. So there's that. Plus, if the locals see the drones, that's going to raise some... It's not illegal, but it is a thing that instantly will draw everyone's attention. So you got to keep that in mind, too.
So don't fly it around here.
Yeah. And that's what Jack was trying to tell you earlier about them.
How long did the battery packs last on those things? I mean, did you get extra batteries?
I bought a power cell so I can recharge stuff.
They're 6 hours.
Gotcha.
After listening to the conversation, we should probably have our guide get back in contact and explain why the phone call got cut off.
Not the truth, though.
No, definitely not the truth.
You definitely dropped it in the toilet.
And
Do
say
we want to be a part of that call?
and say the right things, or I'm going to give you your knife back.
That's what I'm saying. Do we want to do we want to witness that call at all to make sure he says the right things, or at least that we know what he's saying?
Hell yeah, me and Homer are friends. I'm going to make him make that phone call.
Or we could just buy him a replacement phone with a bug in it.
Well, it's going to be hard in this part of town.
Yeah, this town, it's not going to happen.
He's going to have to call over a landline. That's how out of the way you are. But yeah, you know what? We'll have him. You know what? He's going to have to write an email. And because he's writing an email, you're just going to tell me what the email says.
Sorry, broke phone. If you need to contact me, do it through email.
Okay. How much are you paying him?
We hadn't discussed that yet.
Yeah,
I know.
Captain, how
I
much
know.
we paying him?
And he's not going to ask. I just want to know I want to see whether or not his loyalty is going to shift.
We should also, in the email, have him give his report. Because he would have reported something on us being in town, whether it's, hey, these guys are good or whatnot. And if it's just, hey, I'm fine, my phone is broke, like, they're going to catch on to something. Like, he should give his normal report.
That's very true, too. He could also, be part of the report, that Aiden's character was in town and he saw him. Hadn't seen him in a while or whatever.
Those are all good things.
Nice.
Do we have an answer for my original question?
I'm going to pay him 300 gold for right now.
300 is a lot of money. He's like, that's a lot of credits. I could almost get
I'm
a
putting
ticket
you on
back.
retainer.
Retainers.
Yeah.
There's going to be more.
This could be your ticket out of here. That's what I heard when you were talking to me, Homer. And we've been hanging out. It's this is something that we can make happen.
Give me a persuasion roll. You only need a 4 to pass. You're paying him very well. What he's expected to get. Like when you said pay him, he didn't really think he was going to get paid. He just thought he was going to get to live.
I rolled a 10.
Ooh. That's
I
a critical
have
success
1
already.
in persuade and then 0 in social. So 11.
That's a critical success. So he was just going to be like, there's a countersign I have to send to make sure this is legitimate and I'm going to do it. But because you rolled a critical success, he's going to pull a notebook that is blatantly not his out of his desk drawer and hand it to you and be like, these are all the day codes for the alert and response system that we have for the perimeter.
God damn, Homer. Shit.
And as you go to grab it from me, he's going to hang on to it for just a second. He's going to be like, this is me showing you that I am serious. If you will get me out of here, I'd love to go with you. I don't want to be in this shithole anymore. I don't even want to be on this planet if I don't have to be.
Well, I got good news for you, Homer. I think like you and I, we've got this. Yeah, we can make this happen.
So write down that you have a book of day codes for the Leopard Comms facility.
I will. Homer gave me Dear Diary. Homer gave me day codes.
You know what day codes are?
So every day it's a new set of codes to get through security.
Basically. So they're also respond codes. So it's challenge and response. So every day it's a different code and different codes mean different things. So like it's like a calendar book with a list of responses and they transmit their own too. So an all clear would be the turtle is blue. And the turtle is blue means all clear on that day. But the turtle is blue might mean everything's going to go off, the next day. So It changes per day. But you also can respond to it. So if you come across a patrol, you can say a day code to them and they'll be like, oh, you are one of us.
Beautiful. Good job, Homer. That was worth the money.
Lucas sees this happen and stares at Taylor. He stabbed me in the front, stabbed me in the back by befriending. That's
He threw a knife at you. It shouldn't even have gone into your shoulder.
Yes, yours cut me harder than his.
You're just upset I didn't take a bullet for you this time.
That shoulder, by the way, is already healed.
Yeah, what are you crying about? You don't even have a scar. It's not even like puckered.
But this was a cool new snowsuit, and now it's got a hole in it. There's some feathers coming out.
And it's gonna get cold.
No, it's gonna get cold as fuck. You gotta sew that up.
You got some duct tape? Tape it up.
I might actually have some duct tape.
You know, make me a special belt.
I would never. I can fix you up with this cutting torch I've got. No, wait, that's not gonna work.
It'll make the feathers go away. All right. So, how does everyone feel about that episode? I think that went remarkably well.
Yeah, it went really well.
Good.
Sorry everybody was sick.
Yeah. I am sorry about that too.
Everybody sounds like Luca. It's great.
Now, who knows? Maybe we'll get some snow and you guys get a couple extra days in bed.
No, we have to telework.
Yeah, if it snows, I'm not doing that. Oh, I might do that, but probably not doing that. So, snow days are days off. Yeah, I think that I'll be honest with you. I thought you guys were gonna make it like into the facility, but in a lot of ways, I feel like this went better than that. Because you guys are really taking your time and doing it right. So there is that. Also, Aiden, great job on roleplay.
Yeah,
Golf
man.
clap.
Good job.
No, thanks. I did my best.
You did fantastic. I really think that if you practice more of it, like if we do more and more of these things, you'll get more and more comfortable. My only critique, and it's a very minor one, is that when you're role playing, you sound like a used car salesman. But we all have our ways of like getting into it.
Okay.
So I mean, really, go back and listen to the stream, and I think you'll understand what I'm talking about.
He said the word, yeah, we're having fun a lot.
Yeah.
I did? Oh, okay.
Anyway, all right. Thanks everybody for stopping by the stream. I will catch you next time.